Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something really tough. It's one of the most draining parts of caregiving, I think. Those sudden, intense verbal outbursts. Anger.
Yeah, it's incredibly stressful and often brings up a lot of guilt too. So our focus today is giving you, the listener, a new way to look at it, a new tool set, really.
Right. Moving away from just reacting to, what feels like aggression.
Exactly. We want to help you analyze the structure underneath it all, using ideas from behavioral gerontology and applied behavior analysis, or ABA.
So the mission here, as you put it in the sources, is pretty radical. It's about reframing. Stop seeing anger as hostility or like a personal attack.
We need to see it completely differently. Think of it as a loud signal. That's the term we use. It's communication, often desperate communication that some fundamental need is being violated right then and there.
And those signals can be so confusing. I mean, the reaction sometimes feels completely out of proportion to whatever just happened.
Oh, absolutely.
We have this really sharp example in our sources about a gentleman called Mr. F.
Yes, Mr. F. His wife, just trying to help, moved his walker maybe a few inches closer to the dining table. Simple thing.
Simple, helpful gesture.
You'd think. But his response was explosive, shouting, "Get out of my house, you're trying to trick me."
Wow. Yeah, you hear that, and your first reaction is probably hurt, maybe fear, definitely frustration. How does moving a walker become about being tricked? It's just devastating for the person trying to care.
It is devastating. And the logical part of your brain just shuts right down in that moment. But here's the insight from a behavioral perspective. It's not about logic. It's about control.
Okay.
His wife moving the walker, that was the antecedent, the trigger. The event that, for him, suddenly stripped away his control over his immediate environment, something he relies on.
And the shouting.
That shouting was the behavior. It was his learned way, maybe the only way he felt he had left, to try and reclaim safety and control.
So the promise here, the behavioral promise, is that we can learn to kind of ignore the volume, look past the fear it causes in us, and respond to the function of the anger instead.
That's the goal.
But let's be real. When someone's yelling at you, or you're scared, your gut instinct is defense. Protect yourself.
Yeah.
How do you build that mental bridge to, analyze function when you're in the thick of it?
Yeah, that's the challenge. That bridge, it's built by understanding the basic framework. Antecedent behavior consequence, the ABC model.
ABC, yeah.
So the outburst, the behavior, it happens because some change, the antecedent sparks confusion, maybe pain, maybe that loss of control we talked about. And then crucially, your reaction, that becomes the consequence.
Ah, okay. And the consequence, that's where the cycle gets sort of locked in, isn't it? Because if I react with high emotion back, if I get upset or defensive when they shout.
You might unintentionally be teaching them that shouting is the most effective way to get a reaction or to get what they want.
So I'm reinforcing the shouting without meaning to.
Precisely. That's the unintended reinforcement trap. If yelling gets you immediate, intense, even negative attention, or if it successfully makes something unpleasant stop, like maybe trying to get dressed, then the brain learns really fast. Yelling works. It gets me attention, or it makes the difficult thing go away. Escape. We have to be so careful not to reward that loud signal.
That completely changes how you think about the interaction. Okay, so let's identify these signals then. Our sources break down the three main reasons why anger functions as communication. The core functions.
Right, so function number one is escape. The person is essentially trying to get away from something unpleasant. Could be physical pain, could be sensory overload, like a room that's too bright or a TV that's too loud, or maybe a task they just don't want to do. They want the stress to stop.
Makes sense. Escape. What's number two?
Number two is control. This happens when they feel unheard or rushed, maybe manipulated, like decisions are being made for them, not with them. The anger becomes this powerful, albeit disruptive way to try and grab back some autonomy, to assert themselves, even if they can't find the words.
Okay, escape and control.
Yeah.
And the third?
The third function, and this is very common when verbal skills are declining, is access. They're trying to communicate a basic unmet need. Maybe they're hungry or need pain relief or need to use the restroom, feel unsafe. But the words to ask for it clearly just aren't there anymore.
So the volume goes up because the message isn't getting through any other way.
Exactly. The loudness is trying to compensate for the lack of precision.
So, going back to Mr. F, get out of my house, when the walker moved. That sounds clearly like control. He felt his space, his autonomy was violated.
Yes, most likely control in that instance.
But if he'd shouted because, say, the TV remote wasn't working and he couldn't turn the sound up, That might be access, trying to communicate a specific need. I want to hear the TV.
Absolutely. The specific context is everything for decoding the function, and knowing the function tells you how to respond effectively.
Okay, that gives us the why, the diagnostic part. Now, the what to do, the intervention. We need to shift from just reacting to actually designing some structure around this. Let's unpack those 3 steps from behavioral gerontology.
Okay. The first one, and honestly the most powerful, is step 1, manipulating the antecedent. This is all about prevention, getting ahead of the frustration before it even sparks.
The sources call it pre-antecedent control. Sounds a bit technical. What does that actually look like for a caregiver who's maybe already overwhelmed?
It sounds technical, but it boils down to predictability and control. It means setting up the environment and your interaction so the person is less likely to bump into sudden confusion or feel like their autonomy is stepped on.
So, back to Mr. F again.
Think about Mr. F. What changed? His wife stopped just moving the walker. She started asking, "May I move your walker?" Just that simple question. By asking, she handed control back to him. That small act of communication, that pause, it neutralized the trigger before it could even fire.
That small courtesy, recognizing his agency, it changes everything. But, we're human. Sometimes we miss that prevention window. The anger happens. Which brings us to step 2, structuring the de-escalation. What do we do during the storm?
Right. When the anger erupts, your behavior, the caregiver's behavior, is critical. It dictates whether things escalate or de-escalate. First rule, safety and space.
Meaning?
Physically step back a bit, maybe just a foot or 2. It seems small, but it instantly reduces the feeling of confrontation, dials down the perceived threat for both of you.
That's such an important point. I think caregivers sometimes feel guilty stepping back, like they're abandoning the person in distress.
But it's not abandonment. It's creating safety. It restores dignity. It's a strategic move, not a failure. You're actually modeling control by doing it.
Okay, so step back, then what?
Then you validate and simplify. Resist that powerful urge to defend yourself, or explain why you were right, or launch into a long logical argument. Logic is offline when the emotional brain is flooded.
So what do you say instead? What are the magic words?
Keep it quiet, keep it short. Validating phrases, things like, "You sound really upset," or "I understand you're worried," or simply, "Tell me what you need." Low stimulation. No arguing, no correcting. Just acknowledge the emotion.
Okay, acknowledge, keep it simple. And then, once things maybe calm a tiny bit, you redirect.
Yeah.
Break the loop.
Exactly. You gently shift their focus. Introduce a new, neutral, maybe sensory antecedent. Something totally unrelated to the conflict, like, "Look at the way the sunlight is hitting the table," or, "Oh, I think I hear the kettle whistling."
Anything to just shift the mental track.
Right. It breaks that intense emotional feedback loop and starts to reset the environment.
Okay, so step 2 helps us navigate the immediate crisis. But the big question is, how do we stop it from happening again? How do we teach the brain it doesn't need to shout next time? That leads us to step 3, reinforcing calm communication, the consequence piece.
This is where we use something called differential reinforcement. Fancy term, simple idea. You only give positive consequences, attention, comfort, help, access to things for the behavior you want to see, which is calmness, cooperation.
And you withhold those good things when the yelling is happening.
You withhold reinforcement for the yelling. You give it back generously when they're calm, even for a moment.
Okay, give me an example. Let's say someone is yelling because they want a glass of water. What's the wrong way to handle the consequence versus the right way?
Okay, the wrong consequence is handing them the water while they're still yelling. Maybe saying, okay, fine, just stop shouting.
Because that teaches.
That teaches. Yelling gets me water. It works. The right consequence is to pause, maybe say calmly, "I see you're very thirsty and upset. I can get you that water as soon as you can ask me calmly." Or even just wait for a brief pause in the yelling that say, "Thank you for pausing. Let me get you that drink now."
You're directly linking the calm behavior, even a tiny bit of calm, with getting the need met.
You got it. You connect calm directly to reward. Every single time they manage even a moment of gentleness. And it works. They get the water. They get your attention. That's like data for their brain.
Data proving calm works better than shouting.
Exactly. It proves that a calmer approach gets results more reliably. You're essentially teaching a new, more functional way to communicate needs systematically.
I really like that framework. 3 clear steps. And for that moment-to-moment action plan, our sources give us the PIDR protocol, a quick, checklist.
Yeah, PIDR. It's designed to help you shift from confrontation mode into observation mode right in the heat of the moment.
Okay, walk us through it. P is for.
P is for pause. Absolutely critical first step. For the caregiver, take a breath. Acknowledge that your own emotional reaction, your anger, your fear, is about to become the next antecedent that could escalate things further. So just pause. Don't react immediately.
That P for pause isn't just clinical advice, is it? It's self-protection, too. It stops you from adding fuel to the fire.
Totally. It's self-preservation that actually enables better care. Okay, after pause comes I. Investigate the antecedent.
Okay.
Quickly scan. What just changed? What happened in the last, say, 30 seconds? Did the phone ring? Did you touch them unexpectedly? Did the light change? Are they maybe holding their body in a way that suggests pain? Look for the trigger.
Got it. PI, then D. Decode the function.
Apply those 3 functions we talked about. Right then. Are they trying to escape something? Are they trying to assert control? Or are they trying to access an unmet need? Make your best guess based on the antecedent you just identified.
Pause, investigate, decode, and finally, R, redirect and reinforce.
Right. Based on the function you decoded, try to meet that need. If it's escape from noise, lower the volume. If it's control over the walker, give it back or ask permission. If it's access to water, prepare to offer it calmly. Then, the instant you see even a flicker of calmness returning, reinforce it, praise it. Thank you for taking a breath. I appreciate you telling me calmly. It's an immediate 4-step plan to try and restore balance.
PIDR. Pause, investigate, decode, redirect, and reinforce. That feels very actionable. Now, our sources also pulled together some common questions families have around this. Let's touch on those. First up, the overlap between behavioral issues and medical problems.
Yes, this is so important. A sudden spike in anger, agitation, confusion, it can absolutely be a sign of an acute medical issue. Things like a urinary tract infection, constipation, dehydration, undiagnosed pain. These are common culprits.
So medical first.
Always rule out a medical cause first. Get a checkup. If everything physical is cleared, then you bring in the behavioral analysis, the ABC thinking, but they can definitely overlap. Medical assessment always comes before behavioral intervention is the main plan.
Okay. And another frequent question, apologizing. Should a caregiver apologize after an outburst, especially if they feel like they didn't actually do anything wrong? It can feel awkward.
It can feel awkward, but yes, a simple apology can be really helpful. The key is what you apologize for. Don't apologize for their anger, because that might validate the shouting itself.
So what do you say?
Focus the apology on restoring their sense of safety or control. Something like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to move your walker without asking first. Or, I apologize if I startled you when I came in. You're acknowledging their experience, the trigger, the lapse in control perhaps. It helps rebuild trust. It's about the relationship, not just winning the point about the incident.
That makes sense. You're apologizing for the antecedent you might have created, not validating the aggressive behavior. Okay. And the big one for caregivers feeling worn down. How long does this take? Will I be doing this PIDR dance forever? What does the data say about how quickly these patterns can shift?
Consistency is the magic word here. Because we're teaching the brain that a new, calmer way works better, predictability is crucial. The sources suggest that if you're really consistent with these techniques, managing antecedents, de-escalating calmly, reinforcing the quiet moments, you often start to see a noticeable shift within about 1 to 2 weeks.
Really? That quickly?
Yeah, it might not disappear completely, but the frequency and the intensity of the outburst should decrease significantly. The brain starts to learn the new pattern. Predictability really is the best medicine for this kind of anxiety-driven behavior.
That's incredibly hopeful news for anyone listening who feels trapped in that cycle right now. You know, this whole deep dive really circles back to that core idea you started with. Anger isn't defiance, not usually. It's distress, just expressed at maximum volume.
The louder the signal, the clearer the unmet need, often.
Yeah. And when we really commit to understanding the function driving the behavior, we stop just trying to manage or suppress it, and we start actually listening to it.
And the research backs this up. You mentioned Cohen-Mansfield earlier. Their work really confirms that these non-drug behavioral approaches that focus on the environment, the social triggers, the antecedents, they are the most effective first line of treatment for aggression, especially in contexts like dementia care.
So the power isn't just in medication. It's actually in the hands of the caregiver in how they structure the interaction.
Absolutely. The caregiver has the most powerful tools available right there in their approach.
That's a really empowering thought. So a final thought for the caregiver listening.
Yeah.
Maybe someone who admits, you know what? I lost my temper last week. I yelled back. That emotional wave just crashed over them.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway for maintaining your own calm through this PIDR process? Because it's hard.
Oh, it's incredibly hard. Acknowledging that difficulty is step one.
Yeah.
It is absolutely normal to lose your composure sometimes. You're human. The key is what you do next.
Okay.
When it happens, recognize it. Step back, use that pause for yourself first. Maybe even say it out loud, calmly. Okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now, so I need to take a quick break. Let's both just take a breath for a second.
Model the reset.
Exactly. You actively model the very behavior you want to see. That act of demonstrating your own return to calm, even after slipping up, that's probably the most powerful teaching tool you have. It shows that regaining composure is possible, and it's the goal.
Letting your own deep breath be the start of the PIDR. That's maybe the best antecedent we can create in that moment. For everyone involved, this has been incredibly insightful and so practical. Really decoding that loud signal. Thank you.